Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. Got a very special one for you guys today. This is my first ever park created only 5 days after Planet Coaster was released. It was published on November 22nd, 2016. We're doing a throwback today, so stay tuned and let's check it out. Alright, as mentioned, this is my first ever park/creation ever made in Planet Coaster. This is Good Golly Miss Molly scenario map, and obviously that's a few scenarios deep. I think you can unlock it a little bit early, which I did, and I jumped to it. And this is one of the maps that actually got me inspired to build more than just the required amount to beat the mission. You know, all the scenarios leading up into this, you place a couple rides down and you beat it. They were very easy, kind of lackluster in terms of challenge, and because of that I didn't really see the point in continuing onward, and I was still trying to figure out the game. But when I got to Good Golly Miss Molly, I was like, this terrain is interesting. It's gonna force me to do some wacky and crazy stuff. So a couple disclaimers here, things to note. Up until this point, I never really made a coaster. I think I made one coaster on the other maps, just playing around. For the most part, up until this point in the career mode, you weren't really required to do that much. So I had really no coaster experience, and I never made a single blueprint. I was literally just plopping things down as I went in all the other challenge modes, and so all the things in this park, everything that you're seeing here is blueprints that come with the game. It's just the default stuff that you'll find if you buy the game stock. And this was before the 2-week update. I think it was 2 weeks in, they updated the game and added a bunch more blueprints, and then not too long after that we got the winter update. So I didn't have any of that. I just had what came stock with the game at vanilla at launch, and I just kind of fiddled around and was playing with things. So there's not a lot of custom stuff in this one. There's a few things that I'll show you guys that I did custom as we go through, but generally I just was having fun. That's all that's to it. So it's a little bit crazy. It looks like Willy Wonka came in here and built this park, I think. Some of the coaster designs are pretty awful, but you know what? It's gonna be fun. We can laugh at myself for a day and just do a little bit of a throwback here. So enough with the introduction and rant there. Let's dive right on into it. Oh, before I forget, guys, I do want to show the Steam page for this one, just to show you guys. November 22nd, 2016. And right now, it's November 22nd, a year later. Exactly a year later. I don't know if I'm going to get this one out to you guys today because there's been a lot going on. I've been recording and editing all night and waiting for this update to come out. And then I got to do that and edit that and record it and check it out. And then today's videos. So who knows when this will get to you guys. Hopefully I can get it sooner than later. But yeah, today is 365 days after the time of making it, and only a few days after the game was launched. I believe the anniversary was 17th, so yeah, it would have been, I played 5 days of practice there, tinkering with the game and stuff, and then I decided to go big. So there it is. Links will be down in the description below. Massive park, Good Golly Miss Molly. Very original name. Not much thought gone into it, and there's lots of POVs and stuff if you want to check out the coasters and the music and how I used to edit and do things, and see Amateur Hour. You can come watch some videos there. All right, let's dive into it. All right, you guys got a little bit of a look at it through the cinematic shots at the beginning. Let's go on with the tour. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this mess. So obviously with the scenario, I had to start up here at the platform and to make a little bit of money before I could eventually afford the path down here and do things. So I started off with your traditional flat rides, and as I said, I used the blueprints that came with the game to create this little shopping district over here. We got lots of little quaint shops and stuff. None of them really match. You'll see a mishmash of everything going on. We got some fantasy, we got some Caribbean. It's a mixture of everything that the game had, and that was one of my complaints with the beta and my initial review with the game, is the stuff that it came out of standard out of the box. They didn't give you many blueprints. You really needed to create them all yourself or go to the Steam Workshop. However, when the game first came out, you know, you want to jump into the game, play it, and you don't nobody's really made anything, so there is nothing to download. So you're kind of forced to use what they give you, and you can see this is the results of that. And that was the one thing that disappointed me with this game. I wish I wish I could build a fantasy theme park using the stuff that comes with the game without having to go to the Steam Workshop. If I don't have a connection to the internet or whatever, my villages are going to end up looking a little bit mishmashy and repetitive. So even to this day, they have gone back and updated a bit, but yeah, if you did not use the Steam Workshop and you just started building parks, they would end up coming out like this, just a little bit crazy, wonky, and inconsistent. But you could still do some pretty nice stuff, and for the most part, this park came out fantasy, very fantasy heavy, as you can see here. And I still had fun with it, like placing all the little bushes down and the lampposts and decorating the paths. And I did put a lot of effort into it with what was available to me, but it just didn't feel cohesive. And as you can tell, this map is absolutely ridiculous. So you'll see all these crazy spaghetti tracks in the sky, and everything is all over the place. There is one coaster that I'm pretty happy with, which is Molly right here. It's definitely extreme and would probably kill you 10 times over, but I still had fun with it. And yeah, I was pretty proud of that at the time. Looking back at it now, it's plain. It doesn't have much theming. It does go into this crazy gully. The park has 4,000 guests, over 4,000 right now. So it's getting a little crazy. As you can see, I put in all these monorails later, and I got traffic issues because of it that I was not prepared for. Everyone wants to come up to this ride here. Don't flip the bucket. Oh my God, you guys! I did not understand what this coaster was when I was making it. I hate it. I hate this coaster, but we will ride it. It is so bad. I remember while I was building it, I was like, I don't want to do this. And I just was like, you know what? Let's just complete it and pretend it never happened. Well, it happened, and here we are. We're looking at it, and it is atrocious. But it'll be fun to laugh at myself. And yeah. Since then, we learned about the buckets and what not to do with them. So anyways, yeah, these coasters a little bit unthemed, but it's hard to theme down here. I thought it was fun to try and take advantage of the gully itself. And so there's not much theming I can do, but I made sure to decorate the cliff sides and put some shops and allow guests to come here and sit around and watch it. Wherever it came close to the land, I tried to do some stuff. I think there's a kraken down there, and I did do some lights and little candle thingies. I don't know what was up with that, but I thought it looked cool at the time, so I put those everywhere. It's mainly for the nighttime lighting, but it turned out pretty cool. I wanted a kind of a cliff rider coaster that kind of went around the outskirts of the canyon. I tried to make it hug at all times, but yeah, I didn't want those long supports. I wasn't very... This map didn't allow you to terraform, and there wasn't any collision options, so I wasn't able to use things the way I would now. I would do things completely different looking at it now, but I did go in there and add some lights and some custom supports and different things like that, and I tried to do make it a little bit pretty, but for the most part I just wanted to decorate and use what the game gave me, and I didn't want to sit there and make any blueprints for this. So in some cases you could say it's rushed in the sense that I was just plopping things down and going, and if there's something I really wanted for an area, I just didn't bother to make it. So, but I think it turned out okay. There's some pretty areas. I was really happy with this area, using all the hedge plants and the Rapunzel style, or Princess Emily style buildings, tents, and all that. I thought the pink and that popped really nicely here, made it very festive and fun. And we got a random sci-fi dog head here for no reason at all. And yeah, so one big path going all the way down the center of the park. Then it takes you about here. You know what? We kind of cut through here. I do have like 4 or 5 monorail stops as well. It was crazy trying to wrap that monorail around because the slope of it is so narrow. It's hard to get it to where I want it to be, and not being able to edit the terrain was a big pain in the butt. But at one point, there's this area here, I gave up. I was like, I can't do this park anymore, and I just filled it up with some trees and dragons. I probably could have squeezed some extra rides in there, but I thought, you know what? I don't need to fill every square inch. Same with this area. I thought some nature would be good. But we have a little shopping district down here for fantasy, and up top as well. And then some stuff down here that makes absolutely no sense. All on the cliffside. I thought this one would be good. The hammer swing, or whatever, what's that called, is hanging you over the gully, just to give you that bit of vertigo and scare you a bit. And some more flat rides over here. This thingy up here I did build out of boards, all custom. I made one of these, and yeah, I try to customize. This is the one thing I did make, because I wanted the platform to feel like it was shooting you out of a cannon, and I wanted to try the triggered events. So this is the one thing that I did kind of custom, and it was kind of neat, I guess, but I didn't want to spend too much time on it, so it is what it is. And then we got another monorail station up here. It's just funny looking at these plain boarding stations, and I would never do that now. I would just place them down and be like, there it is. I think this one way over here, I decided to make some dressing, but it just doesn't feel the same without an actual boarding station. And as you guys saw when I moved over to Yeti Land, every single station was custom, and it was quite time-consuming and exhausting. But yeah, there it is, some pathways. I did want to go up here and build like more park, but with, like I said, you can't flatten the terrain and can't do anything with it because they disabled it on this mode. It was, yeah, I wasn't up for the task of building here, especially because there's a height restriction on this map. I think you can't build past here, so I didn't have the nice room to work with it here, and the same thing could be set up here. But there was part of me that wanted to expand and make more up here, and stuff going across up top. But I made the best of it, and that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at the nighttime lighting. I know I spent several hours on this. As you can see, it freaking glows. I have lampposts all around the whole park. None of it's really cohesive. There's white and orange, and it just glows. I didn't really put much thought into it, other than I just wanted it to light up and look pretty, and I think it does, but it's a little bit crazy. I like the way the canyon looks, though. I got little lights down there, little candles and stuff, so it ended up I mean, between all the supports and stuff, it just looks crazy to me. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was in the moment, having fun with it, and just going with the flow and playing. And that's what I was doing. I didn't have any concerns or thoughts. I was just playing, fiddling around, and this is the results that you get from that. And I was also playing on challenge mode, so I was actually limited to how much money I made. I don't know. Oh, I've converted it. It's no longer on challenge mode. Yeah, I think because when you upload it, you have to convert it to sandbox, and that's what we're seeing here. Some people were saying that the challenge was difficult to complete. I think you had to build like a 20,000 foot coaster or something, and that's why Molly's so crazy looking. What people were doing is they were saving this as a blueprint, and then they would place it in the scenario to beat it. I got a couple comments saying that they couldn't beat the objective, so they saved my blueprint, and then they placed it right there, and it beat the objective for them. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty crazy. Let's go look at some coasters. So I think what we'll do is we'll ride Molly first because it's kind of cool. So that's this one over here. Inverted four-seater rival. I don't know why the fear went up. These stats used to be green, guys, I swear. I don't know what happened there. Well, I just picked up one of my saves. I don't know. Well, those are terrible stats. Like I said, this one would definitely kill you 10 times over. But people are going on it, so I guess not for the faint of heart, this one. I could have sworn my stats were green, though, because that was like one of the things that I was doing in the game, was making sure that the at least I got green and beat the objective, because I think you had to get green in order to beat it. Anyways, I'm unsure. Let's give it a ride. Anyways. So there it is, guys. Pretty crazy. And the next one I did was the gully. So the pink one was Miss Molly, and this is the gully, because the scenario is Miss Good Gully, Miss Molly. So as you can see, it's like shooting it out. Pow, pow, pow. And that was the main feature of this one. It is a hypercoaster equalizer, so you can't really do any inversions or anything. The whole idea was I just wanted to ride the terrain. So there's the stats there. Not very good. 5.2 excitement, 3.66 fear, and a 0.9 nausea. It's pretty boring, but we'll give it a go. Alright, and the last one... Yeah, I think I just made those two coasters. The monorail's actually pretty cool. I can show you guys here. It goes all the way around down to here, and then it comes back up and all the... Wait, what? Oh, down here. And then it goes all the way around and follows the cliff. I had to do that because it goes up so slowly that I had to wrap it around that far and wide in order to get it up to these places. And then from there, it goes all the way around and back into here. So some some interesting winding track, but it got the job done. But the problem is the traffic flow. And, you know, that's what got me excited. Like, I was looking at this and I was like, oh, I want to go do another park. That's what got me excited to end up starting Yeti Land, was I wanted to make custom train stations and areas that could withhold the capacity of the people. I learned, like, I didn't have enough. Everyone was thirsty. Traffic was really crazy. I mean, there's also almost 5,000 guests in the park. So there were some issues, but it got me interested in the simulation aspect of things, more towards, I mean, like the money making and all that. It's pretty easy in this game, but what was interesting is traffic flow. As you can see here, it gets crazy. So being able to spread out your rides in such a way that the hot attractions and the transport rides have enough space and plazas and things like that so that your guests aren't cramped. And that really had me really excited to start fresh and learn from my mistakes. And this map was all about making mistakes, experimenting, and just having fun. And that's what led me to making this coaster. I was like, what else can we do? I called this one the Birdie. I was like, let's just try this coaster out and see what happens. And I did a terrible job at it. The design, I tried something out, and then I was like, you know, I pretty much just almost nearly auto-completed it near the end. I didn't do much with it. I was just kind of like, okay, I guess I see the point of this coaster, but I didn't want to spend the time to actually make it good. So not just after I put the first bit of track down, I already started regretting it and just wanted it to be over with. Rather than deleting it and just saying screw this area, I just left it and moved on. Said it's good enough. It is not good enough. It is terrible. Let's show you guys why. First of all, the excitement ratings suggest that it's just a mild kiddie coaster. It really isn't. If you want to play the Don't Flip the Bucket challenge, this is not the place to do it. All right, here we go, guys. Let's see how many times I flip the bucket. Oh boy. I wouldn't be surprised if it already flipped. Oh god. I guess that one could almost count. No. Well. Huh. Almost. No. You know what? I don't think I flipped the bucket. Could have sworn it was just flinging around. Huh. I mean, I certainly tilted the bucket very hard, but I don't think I actually got it to go upside down. Oh. Gravity would still hold you in. Let's see this from cinematic. Actually, you know what? Let's do this one. All right. You wrote the left one, so maybe the right one flips. Oh, I can't tell now. I definitely flipped there. Yes. Everybody's dead. Yeah, you're all doomed. I can't really tell because we're upside down. It's definitely a very bad job. But the guests go on it, so whatever. It makes some money. Oh, that end is terrible. Okay. Let's do cinematic. Problem with cinematic, it goes too far away. I think they're a flip there. Yeah. Yep. Come on. Need a closer shot. That would have dropped them right into the gully. And probably there too. That little bar is holding them in. Not good. And then we learned to do the don't flip the bucket challenge. I actually wouldn't mind doing one of these coasters again in the future. I literally was out of room for this one and then lost inspiration immediately. So I think if I were to do this in the future, I would take it much more lower to the ground. I'd start high, but then bring it low, have it like graze across lakes and ponds and stuff like that, and then kind of go up and down and just kind of dip and wave and bob and be a little bit more mellow. I wouldn't try to do like crazy twists and stuff like that, but I'd make it more scenic, more like a ride, a track ride, where it just kind of takes you on through a tour and journeys around a beautiful valleys and lakes and stuff. I definitely wouldn't make it a high flying coaster like that, way up in the air. So I would approach it completely different in the future, and I was literally just experimenting with coasters. With this one, I was like, okay, let's try a hyper coaster here, because I knew at least this one I wanted something to go kind of fast along the edges, and I knew I didn't want to do any inversions. So that was like my only thought process behind using this coaster. And with the inverted one, I just was like, I love inverted coasters, so we're gonna do that. And there was no tactic in there, but look at this squiggly mess. It is crazy. So there you go, guys. That's my first ever park in Planet Coaster, or at least one that's worth showing you guys. The other scenarios, I literally put down a couple rides, and I think that was it, and I beat it. I think I have another one that was pretty good on the, what was the map called? It's the Big Tree of Life one. I think that park turned out pretty good. Maybe if you guys enjoyed this episode, leave a comment down below. Maybe we'll visit my Tree of Life park, because I think that one's kind of acceptable too. It looks pretty decent. I decorated it, and I think I got a couple coasters in there that aren't bad. But we'll see. I don't know. This was like the only scenario mode that I actually enjoyed, and I felt like, okay, we could probably do a spotlight on it. Every other one of my scenario modes was incomplete because I move on once the objectives is complete. So I think this was a good time to show it off because we're getting the scenario modes, and depending on what kind of scenarios are created, it might actually get me excited to play the simulation aspect of the game, where you have to earn money to place these coasters down. You have to earn money to decorate. And I actually really enjoy that in these games, more so than Sandbox. I like the Sandbox for building small, quaint little buildings and blueprints, but in terms of like building parks like I did with Yeti Land, I don't like doing it with infinite money. I like earning my money to do my decorations. Now, whether or not I build those decorations in advance, I still have to pay for them when I place them, and I much prefer that. So in some cases, I wouldn't mind. That's why I started the Sci-Fi Universe collection on my workshop, because I was like, one day I'll probably make a sci-fi park, and I'll have to buy all my shops, and I was really interested in that. So I like the idea of creating these kits where you have tons and tons of shops, ride skins and rides, maybe even a few blueprints for coasters, then going into your map with all the ingredients, and you have to purchase them as you go. And the only tactics that you have to think about or whatever is placement, how you're going to place it, and then how you're going to do the exterior decorations. And when you just have that to focus on, it makes challenge mode a lot of fun. You don't really need to have unlimited money. You just got to wait for the right time and the right place, and then once you have it in, you go in and you just do all these little doodads and lamps, and all that stuff is extra, and it's pretty cheap. So that's how I like to play the game personally, and that's the scenario mode's got me pretty excited. Now, whether or not I'm going to be able to play through a whole bunch of scenarios is kind of unlikely, but what we could do is probably most likely some scenario contests and different things like that. And I'm actually interested in, I might not be able to make these big grandioso parks like everybody else, because I'm too busy making the videos and running the community, but what I would be able to do is make a scenario map where I start you off with this little area, maybe a monorail, and I make sure it's all themed properly, and that way I only have to focus on a few flat rides and skins, maybe one coaster, and some shops, and I can do that. It's manageable, and then I get to terraform a map. So that to me is like bite-sized content that I'm possibly capable of finding time for, and that's got me pretty excited. And you know, maybe if I build a scenario mode, I might just go, let's finish it. So Yeti Land is definitely going to get a facelift. We'll go back to it and touch it up. I think December's the right time to do it, because that's when I started it, and we'll finish it up. We'll convert it into a scenario map so it's actually playable, and make some changes to it and whatnot, and that'll probably be my first project into embarking back into playing Planet Coaster. So yeah, there you go, guys. My first park ever. Good golly, Miss Molly. And that's going to do it for this episode of Park Spotlight. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. If you guys would like to support the show to keep it going, you could do so by becoming a patron. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.